Welcome to RELaunch Live Podcast. RELaunch Live Podcast. Talking all things real estate, the strategies that build it, and sharing their own life-changing growth plans. They are two of the most dynamic people in the business with one common goal: to make you rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired in your life and business. Welcome to the RELaunch Live Podcast with your hosts, Veronica Figueroa and Jeff Lobb.
All right, we are live here. Welcome back, everybody. RELaunch Live Podcast.
RELaunch Live, baby, where we rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired. Episode 2.
This is 2.
So excited.
We got an awesome guest today. I'm here with our favorite inspirer, Veronica Figueroa. And we've got an awesome guest today. I know he's a personal friend of yours, and I'm just getting to know him as well. Do you want to do a little intro and background on our wonderful guest today? Give a little kudos to him.
Absolutely. I have felt so blessed over this last 12 months, and this is someone who has been a big part of that blessing. We met on Clubhouse, probably around December 2020 or January 2021. And then instantly, I think our hearts connected, our voices connected. And, he reached out to me. Ozzy Ramirez has become someone that I feel like he was a brother sent to me by not only the real estate gods, but just the beautiful God above in the universe, and we instantly connected, and we had so many things that were similar in what we love to do and people, and just a remarkable journey that I feel like real estate gave us an opportunity to connect, but there was something deeper. And then as we just started to learn about each other's business, he's an amazing leader, how he loves on his people. He's an amazing father, husband, just a great business person, super smart, has tremendous knowledge and experience, is a listing guru, a script master, a linguistics. It just comes out so naturally.
Now you're going crazy.
Everyone. He's so good. He's someone so special to me. Welcome, my dear friend, Ozzy Ramirez.
You could have stopped at some basic stuff. You kept going.
I was like, that doesn't sound like me anymore. Who's this dude? I
was like, she got somebody else on this podcast. What the heck just happened?
Oh man, you're amazing to me. But we connected, and you were the first person when Jeff and I started to do this that I wanted on here. Because you were the one who inspired me with RELaunch Live Podcast. And to be honest with you, I've never really done these. This is my first one. And Jeff was like, hey, why don't you start a podcast? I was like, actually, I want to do something. My buddy Ozzy, who has been a part of our relaunch journey, said, RELaunch Clubhouse Edition, RELaunch Podcast, what's up? And it just felt right for him to be our very first special guest. I know he's eventually, Jeff, as we talked, we're going to have some co-MCs coming up in here because RELaunch is bigger than me.
Yeah.
It's bigger than any of us.
That's right.
So that's why Ozzy's our first guest too, to kind of just break it down, man. This is a guy who did 92 listings in 90 days. And when he teaches that class, what I've learned is mindset and falling in love with the journey and the process and who you become along the way, and how many other people out there need to hear that message, right? And then just breaking it down. I got to witness him and his people, how they start every meeting with gratitude, every meeting with wins, every meeting with really pouring into each other. Oh yeah, real estate just happens to be a part of the process.
Yeah.
Ozzy, take us there, and Jeff, kind of do your thing.
Let's just repeat that: 92 listings in 90 days. Let's just there alone, right? We're in but listing inventory is too tight. I can't find listings.
We pulled that off. It was actually, it's been years. We pulled it off. I pulled it off as I'd never dialed before. I was actually, before that, I built my business off of just drinking beer with people. I didn't have a whole lot of purpose in the way I was doing things. And I had a business coach challenge me, and I just, in the last quarter of the year, November 1st, I got on the phones and just started having conversations. And, it taught me more than just about listings. It taught me a lot about just human behavior, about my behavior, about letting ego get in the way of things, about just kind of putting down who you are and saying, this ain't about me, this is about other people and how I can help them. And when you do things like that, you begin to understand your value isn't in this business, your value is in so much more. And
Yeah.
when you really dig into that, that's where you change lives. And that's all I do. I just teach people how to find a better version of themselves as much as possible. And it just happens to be, like she said, we do it in real estate. But I love it. I love the journey of everything that we do in real estate. It gets to teach us some amazing things. So I'm open to share. You guys, y'all run the show. Ask me whatever
Yeah.
questions. I want to have
Oh,
fun with you guys.
yeah, man. So we got some ideas. Look, the beauty of any of this stuff is, first of all, though, it's always the why you do it, right? It's always the why, but the big nuggets always come out of the how. Like everyone, everyone's looking for the magic pill, the secret. V and I know that like this, it doesn't exist. We know it's the hard work, the grind, the grit. And now it's like, all right, so you run a very inspirational, powerful shop. But the reality is when most people hear like, how does some dude get 92 listings in 90 days? Like, where do you start? Like when you say phones, like what does that mean? How did you prepare for it? How did you grind it out? Like, what are the systems? Maybe it wasn't a system. Maybe like, let's get some nuggets in there and let's dig like kind of deep.
So the first part I dig into, so I get into the how, like we always got to get into the how.
Yeah,
The first part I always intro people with, no matter who you are, is I say, here's the deal is, I'm going to teach you the how. We're going to go through all that stuff. But the fact of the matter is, I could give you every how in the world. I could give you every tool. I could lay in front of you. I could pay it for you.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, like 95% of you, for lack of better terms, ain't going to do with it.
That's right.
Just to be honest with you.
That's right.
And I tell people that, and then I automatically follow it up and I say, I'm hoping that of this room, whether it's 200, 300 people, I say, I hope that of this room, because I just said that, and maybe I pissed some of you off enough to where maybe 90% of you will actually not do anything and 10% will do something with it. Maybe I can raise the numbers by just punching you in the heart enough to get your ass up and go do something.
Yep.
That's what I started with. And then getting into the how of it all is, there's a million systems. When I started, honestly, I use ArchAgent, which ArchAgent is, I don't think they're even in business much anymore, but ArchAgent is what was given to me. The crazy thing about that is right now you have Mojo, you have Vulcan 7, you have all these systems where you can get the data, pull it down, put it in the system, and you can triple line dial, single dial, whatever you want to do. What I did, and I have books, I can show it to y'all one day, but it was almost like as big as a phone book. I would print out the list every day and I would manually call. I would just call and I'd write little notes and I just kept doing it. And to that day, I have 2 big, thick ass books that have all this information in it. And it has all my notes. And that's really all I did. I just got in and just started calling. And when I realized that my scripts weren't great, I went and asked people, what kind of scripts you use? And then I started putting them in. And it just, over time, you begin to master the conversation. You already know what they're going to say before they say it. So you restructure what you're saying. You hit them before they hit you. And you just keep on moving. But nowadays, we use Vulcan 7 for data.
Yep.
We were using Mojo. We would actually take Vulcan 7 data, push it into Mojo. We've actually gotten rid of Mojo. We moved the Vulcan 7 data straight into Follow Up Boss, and we dial through Follow Up Boss because the FIG team taught us track everything in Follow Up Boss. So we track everything in Follow Up Boss, emails sent out, text messages, all that good stuff. But back in the day, it was ArchAgent. I didn't know how to use a dial, so I printed it out and I did it manual. So I stayed old school.
Yeah, a lot of agents will think, it seems so hard to get started. And I love that you just gave the basics. He said Vulcan 7, we use Follow-Up Boss. Data is really important for us, the integrity of the data. And Eric, who's our COO, has masterminded with Ozzy. Like Ozzy's become like a sister team, a brother team, right? So his team and my team, they, collaborate. You don't have to go through me to call my ops person. And they've just really taken action. What's really cool is you gave some nuggets, right? I was at a lunch yesterday with an agent, $17 million producing agent. And what I love is she was telling me about her business and she doesn't do any lead gen. She doesn't buy any leads. All she does is time block, hop on her dialer. She uses Vulcan 7 and she's religious about the time blocking, right? That is set in stone. She doesn't deviate from that. And she hops on Vulcan. She gets the list from her title company, Realist or whatever. And she asks for, if she gets that listing, she gets a specific list for her title company of all the homes in the area that would fit the criteria, that have equity, that have been, less than a year of homeownership. I mean, more than a year of homeownership. And then she also circle prospects those, and then she sends her mailers out to this. And this is her strategy, right? Yep. And it's repetition, consistency. And I hear a lot of these strategies and I would say habits that agents do. And she goes deep with it. She actually came to me. She says, Veronica, I want to grow my business. This is the only way I know how to do business. Can you teach me some things? And I was like, girl, what you're doing is amazing. And it comes down to the habits. If we just do some small little tweaks, like add a video to every time you get that listing, not just when you get the listing, when you leave the listing appointment, when you actually, when you put the sign in the yard, and when it goes pending, 4 little steps that Chep teaches us, add that to your email database campaign, add that thumbnail to your Facebook, let them go there. We could retarget them, small little things, but don't change what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because it works. And it's the habits, right? And being a listing guru, a lot of times we don't even know. We think it's some magic pill. Like, just call your title company. They can get you the list from CoreLogic and, help you get some of those call numbers and not the numbers. Oh, and she has a guy that actually helps her get numbers from the do not call list. So just a lot of certain things, right? But what I know, and this is where I come back to the inspiration part, what I know is her why. Right? She says, I came to this city not knowing anybody. I had to find a way that worked. She has some personal struggles in her life that, she had to overcome. And it's stuff that is not my story to tell, but her story is deep. There was a lot of family, let's say, trauma or things that happen. And she just knows she's the pattern interrupter. She's the one who's going to interrupt the pattern of the success in her story. So that's why she wakes up every morning. She has her calendar there. She has a mirror. She says, I look in the mirror every time when I'm doing my dialing. And that's some Mike Ferry, like, Craig Proctor type, skill sets that we all know. Y'all should be smiling, dialing, and looking in the mirror, right? But she's, when I look in that mirror, I also know the promise that I said to myself and why I get up every morning and I do it consistently. The sexiness and the freedom, as my coach says, is in the boredom, in the repetition, and the things that we do for the reasons we're committed to. So the reason I'm going to take you there, Ozzy, is because I want you to tell me about a redheaded Irish woman that sprinkles a little glitter as to why, when you were faced with that challenge in your business multiple times, you did not waver and you stayed consistent and you did what your mentors taught you to do. And you are on fire and consistent and on purpose because of something that is deeper. And I want people to get deep.
Well, first off, can y'all can hear me, right? We're good?
Yeah.
Because I see my frame freezes up a little bit here and there.
Sorry,
nonetheless, so getting at it, you're right. What we do isn't sexy. Like, a lot of times, like, you look at the background of what we do on a daily basis consistently. Like, if you just stood behind me every day and saw it ain't sexy. Yeah. But I do it every single stinking day, and I make systems around it. And it's just one of those things where the outcome and the money, it looks real damn sexy. But what I do on a daily basis, it's super monotonous and boring. And but I get into it, and I love that type of stuff because I know what the outcome is. But most people won't ever see the outcome because they get a week or two of unsexy and it's no fun anymore. So they stop.
Right.
And that's why, like, the big why thing, if your why isn't big enough or what you're chasing isn't big enough, like, every obstacle is going to stop you. Yeah. Every cuss word, every hang up, every week without an appointment. Like, that's what happens is people aren't in tune with what gets them up every day. People aren't in tune with what drives their heart to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish. And they give up. They give up at the drop of a hat. Like, anything will make them stop. For me, it's, I'm a firm believer that you put me up against anybody. I may be behind in some of the races, but you put me up against anybody. Like, if we're treadmill racing, one of a few things are going to happen. You're going to die. I'm going to die. Right? You're going to give up, or I'm going to win. There ain't no other option. That's the way this shit works.
I love that. I love that.
So
that's
here's where I think a lot of us, and this is really an important thing to talk about. Here's why I think a lot of people fail when we talk about time blocking. Right? The time block is such a magical thing. However, we find that when people independently time block, that if there's no accountability or if there's no pain of loss of that time block not being kept, it's too easy to move. Meaning, I got a time block for Wednesday and Thursday to prospect. And how many times does a real estate agent or a mortgage professional or anybody in sales find themselves like, oh, you know what? I got a client. I got to call them instead. And the time block now just gets moved or doesn't happen because you know what? They really didn't feel like calling for an hour because it's a little painful. It's a little this, it's a little that. They didn't want to do it. It's uncomfortable. And then, you know what? I'll do it tomorrow. I'll make up for it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you got something else that pops up and you don't do that time block because no one's accountable to that time block other than themselves. Have you ever found yourself like not wanting to do that time block and be like, I got to do it? Because too many people will find a reason to make it move and never come back to it again.
Jeff, I'm telling you, you got to hear the story about the redheaded Irish lady that is using
I'm going to hit this.
Let's go.
So I'm going to hit this. So lead measure, lag measure, right? So that's what I teach people. If you haven't read the 4 disciplines of execution, here's the deal. People don't understand the lead measure and the lag measure. I got to find a win every day. Lead measure win for me. So like in weight loss, right? Lead measure win. I'm going to drink my 80 whatever ounces of water every day. And I am going to only eat from 12 to 8 every day. Those are the only things I'm measuring. If I can win at those every single day, I know the lag measure, which is my scale, will begin to change. But what happens is people step on the scale, it doesn't change, and they give up because they don't give themselves the little wins.
Yep.
That's what I do. Every day I just say, did I get on the phone and did I have this many conversations? Did I get on the phones and did I touch this many people? Did I have, did I really give myself to as many people as I could? And if every day I hit my number, which is minimum of 20 people that I gave my heart to, that I really paid attention to, that I poured my love into, I won that day, regardless of what my scale says, regardless of how fat I am right now. I know that it's coming.
So
and
good.
That's the goal.
That's it. That's it.
That's the end. But people don't give themselves the wins.
Repeat that book again. People are going to be asking.
The 4 disciplines of execution.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Great. Lead measure, lag measure. And it's all done on scoreboards, right?
Yeah.
All you got to do is say, did I win today or I lose today? Okay, I didn't win today. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this again tomorrow. Yep. And every day, if you win 4 out of 5 days, call that week a win. Try to get 5 next week and just keep on rolling with it. And it's those little victories. Like we gotta celebrate those things, man. Because if we celebrated only when we had a closing, half these agents would never celebrate. Just being real with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So
right.
I know Avetta wants me to go here. So here's the deal. Like, if you don't have the big why to pull you through stuff, I believe that some of the most successful people in the world, if not 99% or all of them, we're driven by a higher cause. And the higher cause is attached something to bigger than me. If you ask me to accomplish what I'm accomplishing for me, I wouldn't do this shit. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't accomplish anything because most of the time I don't feel worthy. Like I'm just not the one, right? But when we can attach it to something outside of us, and typically it's a human being, it's somebody that we love so much that we would die for. Like when you can attach it to that, you can change the game. And that's really what I've helped people to kind of begin mastering that part. And for me, it started at a young age. Like I didn't figure it out until I was 21. But when I figured it out, when I tell you it's game changing, it's game changing. Because when I flipped the way I saw things and looked at things, like I couldn't go back. I just couldn't go back after that fact. So getting into it, I don't want to get too crazy into it. I'm going to touch what I can because I don't know. Sometimes I feel wrong talking about it as much, but it's a part of who I am. And if I can touch one person and change their heart, I'm going to go ahead and do it. But here we go. So, man, I'm a first generation American, right? My birth mother came from Mexico. They had me here, call me an anchor baby. I don't care, whatever. But they had me here. My birth father, he became very Americanized, and my birth mother, like she wasn't having it. So they just didn't see eye to eye. And at about the age of 1, she was removed from my life, partially because of her, partially because my family, my dad, like the way he was. And he's a rough man. Like he's just, I know now that it was partially her and her decisions, but it was also my dad was a rough man. And I knew that growing up, I felt it, right? So I have a brother named Tony who's adopted, and my dad shot him in the back with a shotgun when I was 8 years old. When I was in 8th grade, my bad. But listening to the story, like I never put it together, but my dad was shot with a shotgun by his dad when he was a kid. And it starts to make sense, and you're like, but I'm not making excuses for nobody. Like the man, he was a product of his environment, but he could have made decisions he chose not to. His vice was alcohol. He just couldn't let go of that alcohol demon. I believe my father could have been an amazing man, but that alcohol turned him into a demon, and I lived with that monster. Right, that was something I couldn't get away from. Well, we moved into a trailer park. I think I was between 1 and like 3 years old. I don't even know. It was before like my memory. But we moved in a trailer park called Kings Row. If you're from Houston, Kings Row on the south side is one of the biggest trailer parks. Like it's on 35, which is called Telephone Road, and it's just a rough part of town, And so they had two trailers side by side, is the story I heard. And over time, I don't know how. I believe that he dropped me and my brother off with her. Like they kind of started liking each other, but he dropped us off one day, and she was babysitting us, and they kind of fell in love, and this thing happened, and she became my mom. Like she took care of me. Like when he would do things, like he would go on these binges where like we wouldn't find him and stuff like that, and or like it was sad. I remember coming out on the bus one day, and he's got his seatbelt attached to his leg, and he's laying outside of the van. He's just drunk, man. And I love my dad. I'm gonna tell you right now, like I love him for he gave me life and he gave me who I am. Like he's part of my DNA. I will not adopt the things that he did. I just won't. But I love him for what he did. Now there's a lot of pain tied to that because it takes a lot for me to forgive him for the things that happened. But but I love him for what he did because I am who I am, and I'm gonna adopt the good DNA. But I remember coming out and seeing the bus, like the bus is right there. Here's our driveway, and this is we moved. This is we got older, and he was a plumber and he had a work van. And he's hanging out drunk, and I'm looking at the bus driver, the kids I go to school with, and I'm just packing my dad up and I'm bringing him inside. And this is like a 10-year-old boy trying to carry a grown ass man, and I'm like, Dad, wake up! Like wake up! It's embarrassing. But he would take himself in and out of our life, and so my mom, like she was just like this powerful being. Like when we were 5, so there were 4 of us that lived in our household. There's really 16 of us for my birth mother and everybody. I have 15 brothers and sisters, and we love each other to this day because we struggle. Like when we were going through it, we struggled together, and we love each other, and we realized like we didn't need money. Like we didn't need none of that crap. And just there's a lot of stories. I'd go forever, but nonetheless, like this woman, right? Like she chose to be there. She chose to be a part of my life, and our brother Ricky. So I had 2 white brothers, Ricky and Andy, and I had me and I've got one blood brother named Angel. His name is Caesar. He's actually in real estate too. And Ricky was killed by a drunk driver when I was 5. And about the age of 10, like I just got, you start getting wise to thing like there's something better here. Like I know something can be different. And I told my mom, I was like, I was mean. And I was like, I hate you. I want you to leave. I didn't mean it. I just wanted to get away. And then we broke down and we talked, and I was just like, I love you and I just want you to leave. Like, I'm tired of seeing you get your nose broken. I'm tired of seeing you getting beaten. Like, it's just tough. And I just knew like she got in the way a lot of my beatings, like things that were coming for me. And I still got my fair share. I got more than my fair share. But I wanted better for her. And she told me, she sat me down and she said, Ozzy, God took Ricky from me and he gave me you an angel. And she's like, I'm not leaving. And that was like the day I realized, like, man, the heart of a volunteer is a super powerful thing. Like she chose to love me, like beyond any other adult had ever loved me. Because you got to be special to take ass whoopings for a kid that ain't yours.
Wow.
You got to be special to stick around for 17 years and all that. And it was crazy. She was feisty, man. I saw her throw a TV through a door, like a glass door, like a full TV. And I'm like, how the hell? Like that's Superman strength. Like, how'd she do that? I saw her throw a knife and it got stuck in a table. Like they're fighting. Like it was rowdy. All the stories I could tell you, it was super rowdy. And I look back and I'm like, holy shit, how'd I make it? But I look back and think like I wouldn't have it any other way, dude. Like this shit was meant for me. And I cuss a lot. I'm sorry. I hope y'all don't
It's okay.
No,
blacklist
we're
me
okay.
or
No,
nothing.
we're good.
But man, she just raised me and she was just amazing. And there's a lot of stories around that. And then like my sophomore year, so my brothers, as they got old enough, like they were so smart. My brother Andy, he went to Florida State University. He graduated with his master's at the age of 21, like another level. My brother Angel, he never got a below a 4.0 GPA, not even in college. But when they were getting old and they like, so they, my freshman year, Angel, which was the youngest, closest to me, he was graduating, and my mom was like, "You will leave this house and you will never come back. Like, do not come back. Like, there's a world out there that's meant for you. You need to go and get it." And she was so powerful in those words and those, and so she got diagnosed my sophomore year, and it's just me and her, and he was in and out, and um, my dad was in and out, like, but we got to know each other really well. And when you take someone to chemo on a weekly, if not monthly basis, and when you begin to see like how the mind changes because of these things, like right when I had to give her morphine and she had a tube coming out of her stomach and I had to give a syringe and I remember it was Ensure. I put the Ensure in the syringe and I'd shoot it in her stomach every morning before I went to school. And I share this. My darkest day was before she actually passed away. My darkest day was the day I realized that your strength doesn't matter sometimes. Like you got to be stronger here. And it was me and her, and we were poor, man. So we had like no insurance, and there's probably some of the crappiest health care you could get. But she had staples, like all the way down her body, and she had a tattoo where they shot in the radiation and all that stuff, right? And one day she fell in the hallway, and at this point, is my junior year. I was strong. I was benching like 300. Like I was cut. Like I loved it, but I couldn't pick her up because every angle would rip a stitch, and there was a puddle of blood on the floor. It's just me and her, and it's crazy because she's bleeding and she's comforting me. She's like, "Baby, it's okay." And in that moment, like I'm like, "Damn, where is everybody?" Like, it's just me and you. And finally, like we figured a way to get her up and get her into bed, and we had to fix the bleeding. And then the nurse lady that comes and checks on us like once a week, whatever. She was like, "Why didn't you call us?" And I was like, "We did, but nobody came." And that's what happens when you're poor. Like you just don't have the best shit. And
Right.
so man, my senior year, I came home and she had passed away, and I came in and I laid down and I'm just looking at her. Like my bed was set up here, and there's a doorway, and her bed was here, and I could just lay down and look. And for about an hour, I would just look and and hope she was gonna wake up, and it didn't
Wow.
happen. So we called in her best friend. Her best friend came over, and cops came, coroner, everything. They bring them out of the house. They die. They she's gone, and that was it. And so at that point, it was like, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do here? What do I do? Like, I know my dad wasn't gonna pay this mortgage. He was going crazy. I know that she was gone. I'm like, somebody got to foot this bill till I graduate because I don't know where I'm gonna go. So I got jobs and I graduated that year, and but it was trouble. Like, man, I tell you, like I went off the deep end. Like I was doing
Uh,
stuff I shouldn't be doing.
Ozzy, when you told me this story and you reminded me that everything you do every day is because of wanting to always, she's always looking over you, and you just wanted to be like a little glitter, right? To just
So
shine
that
and to make the world a better place.
so fast
And
forward, I was 21 years old, right? And I met my wife. I didn't believe in God. Like I was angry. I was in and out of jail, causing problems for God knows how long. And funny story, I'll just say quick. I got arrested on our first date with my wife.
Oh my God.
Is that crazy? I don't know why she's still with me. Sorry, but whatever. So my wife, like, she was very Catholic in her upbringing, and I was very like, "What's church?" Right? So I basically told her, I said, "I don't believe in the Bible. The Bible's a book of stories. Like, you believe in that all you want, but I won't." And for a year, she just kept telling me, like, "I want you to go to." After our daughter was born, so we got together. We were together for a year. We had a baby. Um, And she would just say, she would tell me, our kid's going to be Christian. And I'm like, whatever, I'm not. And she just kept begging me, like, go to church every Sunday. So at this point, I'm managing a restaurant at Papacitos, whatever. And every Sunday, she's like, can we go to church? And every Sunday, I'm like, no, I don't believe in that. And one day I went, and the pastor spoke to me, and he said some things that like really got me thinking. And it got me thinking that God didn't take my mom at 17. He gave me 17 years with an angel, and I was looking wrong.
Mm.
And when that hit, it was like, she sacrificed 17 years, and here I am being a complete loser. Like, I'm not living in my purpose. And all I could think is I would look back at the days when she was passing, because my family's rough, man. Like, they don't sugarcoat nothing. And I remember my brother Angel saying, mom's dying and you're a piece of shit.
Mm.
This is what you're showing her. She's literally going to die, and this is what she's going to have. Her son that she lived with, that she took care of, is a piece of crap. This is you. I hope you're happy with yourself. And he would hammer it home, and he wouldn't leave it alone. So I was like, man, I left her with something that was less than what I wanted to be. So I came up with this analogy that those days I was like a piece of glitter, and some days from heaven she could see me, and some days she couldn't. And I would ask myself, like, how do I make sure she sees me? And the only way I could figure out is I have to volunteer and give every bit of me to everyone I can, like she did to me.
Mm.
And the more people I share my light with, the more people I lift up, the more people I grow, the more I'm shining my light. So eventually, if I shine my light to everyone and help anyone I can, like, my light will reach the ends of the earth, and I'll blind her from heaven, and she'll see me. And that's the only way we can do this. So I don't believe I'm selling real estate. I believe I'm meant to help people to see something different and be something different. And even if I just say one word that makes them go be more kind to another human being, that's what I'm here for. I believe that
Mm.
every human being, like you guys, like Jeff, Veronica, like, there is something, and I believe it's not just you, but every human being I meet knows one thing that can change or save my life. Therefore, every human being I meet is the most valuable person I've ever met. So I got to give them everything I got. The other thing about it too is I don't believe I'm not the person that's going to change the world, but I believe I will influence the person that's going to change the world, but I don't know who they are or where they are. So I got to give everything to everybody, because that's my impact. So I'm and I always liken it to this, like, I'm going to influence the next Martin Luther King Jr. Where are
Mm.
they? Who are they? What are they doing? When am I going to meet them? Is it at a restaurant? Are they a waitress? Are they the dude on the side of the street? Like, I don't know who they are. So every time I have an encounter, I got to give them everything I got, because God placed me in front of them for a reason. And when it's all said and done, it's like my light will shine from the ends of the earth. Like, this is about spreading a culture. This isn't about real estate. And I got to touch as many people as I can, because my mom needs to see me.
So good.
man.
And guys, I know, like we said, this is going to be where you rethink, you reimagine, you're re-inspired. So we're going to hear some inspiring stories that you're like, how does that apply to real estate? Well, you know why he gets up every morning. You know why he does what he does. And if you ever want to hop on one of Ozzy's like role playing, scripting, I think he opens up his virtual scripting that they do with his team every, I think
Every
it's
day,
every day
Monday
that
through
they do it.
Friday, 8
Every
to
day, Monday through
8:30.
Friday. And they're so committed to, the reason they're doing the things to make an impact, right? But you can go on and Ozzy, thank you so much for your vulnerability, for sharing your story. I mean, I know a lot of people, listen to podcasts and they're just looking for that magic nugget, but this just laid the foundation as to what they can expect on RELaunch Live. Some inspiring stories, some reasons to dig deep, right? But then also attaching it to what we do in our business and knowing that we have people who are truly coming from a place of serving. They could hop on your morning huddle. We'll put in the information as to how they can reach out to you and do that. And, you're committed to helping people discover what they're capable of, right? Because you know that every one of us can do more. You share it all, just like Jeff does. Jeff shares it all through his coaching and through his, experience in the industry. And I don't know, take my playbook, do what you want. There's no secrets with me, because we all believe we're walking in our purpose. Taking it back to just the things that you do every day for mastery and the reasons you get up and the reasons you're so committed. One of my favorite things that I got to hear you do was like break down the bulldog script. Like that and like I said, you're one of my favorite people, and I want to compress a year of knowing you in 35, 40 minutes, right? It's so hard to do because I just want the world to be inspired from you. And I'm like, dude, I'm watching you in real live role play. like with this bulldog script, right? But you add a component of service and heart. And it's never about winning the listing just because you said, I just want to win the listing because of the commission. It's like you genuinely want to help this family, right? And you don't want them falling into the wrong hands of an agent who can't truly serve them. And or you want to elevate the other agent on the other agents to get better in that craft. So you share so openly. Talk to us a little bit about that mindset and maybe even that little snippet of that
So
script.
the number one thing, like this is what I find in a lot of agents is they're like, well, I don't want to call people. I've already called my sphere of influence, but I don't want to bother people.
That's right.
And it comes from a place of you only bother people when you don't have value.
That's right.
Think about that. So think about that. Like I want you both, Jeff, Veronica, I want y'all to think about the person you love the most in this world that you would die for. There's probably one, two, three, maybe five of them, right? You would give your life for these people, your wife, your husband, your kids, right? If those people, those special people, if they call you every day, is it bothering you? No. Maybe just like maybe. No, but it's not
Depends
really
on
bothering
Depends on
you.
which kid.
It depends on which one. But truly,
what are
when
they
they have
calling
so
me
much, when they
for?
have so much value,
Yeah.
you want them to call you like you love them calling you. When you have no value, it's a bother. So here's the deal: is go ahead.
You hit it right on the like literally. Remember that agent I was talking to yesterday about that she says she calls and still does, the calls. She said, "You'd be amazed, Veronica. We think that people like go online and find this. I call people and their dog just died, or
Hmm.
they're mourning the fact that they lost their loved one, and they actually thank me for calling them and helping them
Yeah.
on their next chapter." She's like,
Yeah.
"That's why I still do the things to generate business that connect me with people because I feel like I'm helping people." So you guys are so aligned with that, and I love that you're bringing that up because when you're calling from value, but then you're also helping people when they need you the most. Sometimes you're that person that needed to call them.
Right.
Yeah,
And I
people.
think too,
Go ahead.
if you don't know, here's the problem is if you don't know the value you bring, then you got to go back to the grassroots of why am I even calling you? Like I think so many people get stuck on necessarily what to say. Think about why you're actually calling them. Think about why you're trying to really help them with their family. I don't think we think about that why too much. We just think about like I got to know what to say and just show me what to say, exactly how to say it. And you could have that script, right? You said it before. You could have all the scripts. I could teach you how to do it. I could teach you what to say. But you have to understand why you're calling people. You have to genuinely feel
Hmm.
you're calling to help people, with their life and with their family and with their kids. Because, think about the business of real estate. When you move somebody, there's so much emotion involved in that process. And there's so much like, think about it. It changes your entire life
Hmm.
when someone moves from one place to another. And it's not just a transaction or a deal. I mean, it's how we look at them sometimes, and they're not. So I think when you
It's a
pick up the
ultra
phone,
personal.
yeah, it's ultra personal. Think about the why you're calling them. And if you don't know your value of why you're calling them, then don't call yet. Figure out your value first. Let's talk more about that. Like,
The-
what is
So
that value?
so I talk a lot about conversationalism, right? And
Yeah,
the truth is, conversation isn't that you dominate the conversation, it's that you control the conversation. And most of the time, controlling conversations means you're asking the right questions so that they dominate and they talk more. When they talk more, when a human being talks, they're going to walk you down the path.
that's
They're going
right.
to tell you all their heart's desires. And here's the deal is if you can learn someone's heart's desires, you can help them accomplish it and nothing else matters.
Yeah,
So when we get in conversations and we start talking to people about whatever it is, it could be real estate, it could be nothing. Like you said, most of the time I call and it's like, especially with older people, they just want someone to listen, right? And I know that in the moment, God placed the number in front of me, right? He got this phone in my hand and they placed their phone in their hand and they answered. That's a divine intervention. That God put us there for a reason. And most of the time it has nothing to do with real estate.
Hmm.
So if we start opening our mind to, oh, instead of just thinking about real estate, open your mind to what value can I bring this human being in the next 5 minutes while on the phone with them?
Mhm.
Ask questions, dig deep, see what they're looking for. Don't just let them off the hook with, no, I'm not looking for an agent. Fantastic. Because I'm not looking just to be your agent. I'm looking to be someone who brings value today. What could it be? Do you need contractors?
That's
Do
where I
you
wanted
just
you to
need
go.
somebody to talk to? Do you like what is it? And I can't tell you how many people I've got on the phone with, and in that 5 minutes they end up telling me something, and sometimes they cry, And they're like, nobody's listening to me like this, especially in this day and age of the pandemic where we've been locked in a box.
Yep.
Like when we open the box, people want that human interaction, and we've missed it for a while.
Yep. Correct.
So when you give them that human interaction, like it's a gift from God for some of these people. So like when you think about your value, especially rookies think, because I don't know anything, I have no value. No, no, no. Your value comes from, are you going to serve this person, love this person, and just genuinely be there for them? That authenticity and that genuineness is game changer. Just love them where they're at.
Gedvi. Oh, I lost your audio, Veronica.
Oh, but Ozzy, they don't want to pay commission. I'm not hiring an agent.
I don't want to be in business. Yeah, I get it. Here's the
I'm
deal.
not talking to an agent.
When we look at these things, when they say they want to talk to an agent, I say, can I ask you a question? Let's role play it. We'll roll it all the way through, right? Can I ask you a question? So what is it that you don't like about real estate agents? Did somebody do you wrong? Like, what is it?
Well, I just want to save as much commission. I just don't
So
feel like
is it
I
about
can do it on my own.
Is it about commission, or is it about the amount of money you put in your pocket, net dollars? Because if you paid higher commission, but you netted more dollars than you could on your own and with paying zero commission, which would you like? Would you like $100,000 in your pocket with commission, or would you like $95,000 in your pocket, no commission? Which one's better, the 100 in your pocket or 95?
Well, I mean, that sounds great and all, but my neighbor is a hot market, man. He just put a for sale sign out the door out there, and he put it on Zillow, and it sold. So I figured I'd do the same.
I'm super curious. Is it about your neighbor putting a sign in the yard? Is it about you making more money?
I mean,
would
I want to make
$100,000
as much money as possible.
would $100,000 in your wallet benefit your family more than $95,000 in your wallet?
Yeah, obviously.
100,000, right? Okay.
Can you
So
guarantee me 100,000?
Stop talking about my money and let's talk about your money. You keep talking about commission when my money don't matter. What matters is your money. Can we stick on that? Can we focus on that? Because here's the deal: is at the end of the day, you're not married to me. You're married to your family. All I'm caring about is how do we put the most money in the pocket for your family. If I can show you a way to do that, forget my commission. I don't need to make nothing. God paid me already. Let's talk about you. How do we get that done? If I can come over and show you a better way, can we finish this conversation at your house?
I never looked at it like that, but but I'm just let you know, I'd have zero intentions of listing. I got a friend who's a real estate agent, and she said she would do it for me, for pretty much free. She just pop it on the MLS for me. So, I don't want to put false expectations, but I'm happy to hear what you got to do, what you can do for me.
Absolutely. So I want to be 100% honest with you. So the conversation will go one of two ways. One way is we meet and I give you a bunch of ways to sell the house on your own without hiring a real estate agent, so you can net as much money as you would like. The other way is you find value in what we do and I help you net more money than you could on your own. Either way, you're going to win. So just let me come over and show you how to win. Is that okay?
That sounds pretty good.
I'll even leave the contract in the car.
Awesome.
Perfect. I can't wait to meet you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Listen, this RELaunch Live is new, right? RELaunch Live podcast. We're just having fun. Yeah. Coming from a place of heart, of knowledge, of teaching, of sharing. And, I had no expectation as to what today was going to look like, Jeff, other than, I would believe pure gold and nuggets. And you tell me, brother, what do you think?
I think there's probably one or two more nuggets right here real quick, because I wanted to get them out of Oz real quick, and then we're going to wrap this baby. Because so you hit a magical button where I think most people stop. And I was letting you talk for so long, and I want to get this out. Think about it. When most people don't want to talk to anybody about real estate, they're not interested. You hit a magical button about talking to them about just other things about their home or another. Like, I'm not interested in anything, which is the majority of people. They're not interested in any of this right now. But the conversation could be so magical if you just start talking about things that are, hey, what's going on with your current home? Or is there anything going on with your current home I can help you with? Is there some things going on that you might have a need for that we can offer some services to? I think that you hit such a button there that no one goes there. And I don't know if you go there often, but I would love to hear a few things you might talk about that opens that conversation, and then we'll wrap from there.
So a lot of times, like when I'm talking to people, I actually, other than the real estate side is, here's the deal is selling a house is selling a house and buying a house is buying a house. If we can kind of put that on a shelf, what's the purpose? Like, why are you moving?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Like, what do you want to accomplish out of this? Because there's some times that I talk to people and they think they want to move and they think they want to sell and they think they want to buy, but we discover that that's not the best thing for them. In fact, I had a conversation not too long ago with the seller, but by the time we ran all the numbers, did everything, and they really like let me in on what they really wanted. I told them, I said, you just described the house you're in. Why are you moving? So why don't we get down to what's most important to you? And sometimes it's not buying or selling a house. Sometimes you need someone just to ask you the questions to self-discover what's best for you, and it may not be selling your house. Now I know that goes against like popular belief that a real estate agent is talking themselves out of a sale.
Yep.
But my job isn't to be an agent. My job is to be a consultant to give you the best information to make the best decision for your family, regardless of how that concerns me.
I love
Sure.
that. And then here's the thing. Those people that you help and that you help them make the right decision for them become your biggest ambassador. I have
Right.
had people who have sent me referrals, who have sent me repeat clients, who have advocated for me, and never have they bought a house with me or sold a house with me. But I was able to guide them through a journey that helped them self-discover something. And then you became the person that they trust in real estate.
That's right.
And they refer you their mama, their brother, their sister, their coworkers, their neighbor, because they have a place to live. And we have this limited belief that if I'm not getting a sale with them, particularly, they're wasting my time. And that's not true. I want to be their person that they trust. They become my biggest ambassador. And on top of that, like now we're all just blessed, right? We're all just sharing and we're all just, able to just continue to make an impact. But it's really, really interesting. If you could get people to refer you who didn't even buy a house for you, that's a
right.
beautiful thing. That's a
Hell
pretty
yeah.
powerful thing, right? So the
Sure
fact
is.
that you're going in saying, hey, even if I can't, if we decide that selling your house is not a good idea, truthfully, Ozzy, I want to meet their network of 100 people that they know
Mm-hmm.
and that they rave about me as they would about
Yep.
someone that they absolutely felt gave them top-notch service. The rest will come.
That's right.
So it's the principle of I believe it's a Carnegie principle is I'd rather make $100 off 100 people than $100 off of one
One
person,
person.
because the 100 people now become your army.
That's right. Yep. And it's expansive. It's explosive how that works. So
Yeah.
listen, I could go on forever. I know. Look, we try and keep this to a certain time, but super interesting, Oz. Your story is amazing. Totally unexpected, but you got to my heart, right? You got to my heart, got some nuggets in there. And I think we can tap into, I'm really anxious. I'd love to even tap into some of your calls that
Yeah.
you do to kind of be a little fly on the wall. So we're gonna have to post how to get that done on our, in our stream. We'll put it there. Will you do this every day? You said you open up.
Yeah, every day from 8 to 8:30. I used to do it. I haven't done it in a while, but I used to put on a thing we call Stump the Oz, like come to me with your best objection, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best to overcome it. And
Yeah.
people freak out, like, man, I didn't know to say that.
That's
So,
great, because that's the majority of where most get stuck. So I'm looking to tap into some of that myself to kind of be a fly on the wall too, just to kind of be present. I think I'd like to be present. So V, let's wrap this baby up. We ready to roll? We're gonna hopefully next week we're gonna do this again.
Yeah, next week we're going to do this again. We're going to have a special guest come on. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but
No.
I
Keep that
honestly
a
think
secret.
we're going to keep it. I think this series of next few episodes on listings, because it is a real true topic
Yeah.
of generating listings. And actually I will tell you who I'm bringing on if Jeff allows me to.
Yeah.
My goal is to bring in Drew Kendo. Drew is someone who is just another listing guru, especially in this very challenging market where agents are saying, how do I get more listings? He's an amazing leader, father, a business owner, and not only just very much like Ozzy, teaches you how to go after listings, probate, how to generate business that's off market, and teaching agents the skill set of generating more business. So yeah, guys, we are so excited that you guys are here. Again, RELaunch Live is a place where you can rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired about your real estate business, bringing some of the best people in the business coming together. And we're going to get to uncover a little bit of their heart and their why too.
Hell yeah.
And we continue to kick this off. So thank you again, guys. We'll see you on the next one, next RELaunch Live.
See y'all.
See y'all there. Thank you.
You've been listening to the RELaunch Live podcast, helping you rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired in your life and business. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. Find the show on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, and YouTube. See you next time.